Oh my god, hi! It's Alien Tostada, and if you don't know me, I am a full-time tattoo artist by day and a all-around visual artist by night. I'm based in Montreal, Canada. I guess this is kind of just like a tiny intro to my video. Today I wanted to make a little tutorial, a pet portrait watercolor tutorial, and I titled it a rat tutorial because if you've been following me on TikTok for a while, you know that I've done rat tutorials before. Basically my tutorials are like, I've never done this before, but here's how you do it, and let's figure it out together along the way. So yeah, and you know, rats, they have a bad rap. So like, rat tutorial, you're like, what the hell is that? Maybe rats have a bad rap, but they're actually very cute and smart, and they have their little dexterous fingers, and they have nice nails, which, like, I like a good nail, if you can tell. And I've been wanting to post on YouTube a bit more because I am a certified yapper, which is a good thing. And as a certified yapper, I think YouTube is the platform to be on. I'm not used to being on camera. I mean, I'm not used to like talking to the camera. So if I'm awkward, that's why. And if I say and like a lot, that's also why. So basically for Mother's Day, I wanted to make a pet portrait for my mom because unfortunately her dog passed away a few weeks ago, and I wanted to commemorate him. And she also had another dog that passed away like maybe 5 years ago. I decided to paint them together. I think 5 years ago I did think about doing a portrait of her dog, but I didn't feel adequate at the time. I had never done pet portraits before. And what made me want to do one now is because I'm, as I said, a tattoo artist, and I recently did pet portrait. It was my client's dog, and it was a white dog, and the tattoo went super well. She was very happy with it. I was very happy with it as well. It was really fun to do, so I decided, like, if I can tattoo a pet portrait, I definitely can draw one or paint one with watercolor. And the reason I chose watercolor is because I'm a very slow worker, but for some reason watercolor I'm pretty fast. So this whole process was maybe a week, which is fast for me. But you know, like the whole process, meaning like looking for the picture, tracing over the picture on my iPad, printing it out, tracing it again, colored pencil, doing the watercolor. I think doing the watercolor was actually the fastest step. So step number one was to find a frame, because if you give someone a painting or a print or something, if you don't give them a frame, you're kind of giving them homework to go buy a frame. But if you don't know their aesthetic, don't waste your money on a frame. So I just went with a simple gold frame. It's a 5x7. Find really good frames at like IKEA or like Walmart or Dollarama even. So you don't need to spend that much on a frame. Usually if it's a standard size, you can get some for cheap. Mostly when it's like a weird size print or painting, then the frame needs to be custom, and that's when it's expensive. So I got her the little frame, and then I already had a watercolor paper. So I just took one sheet of that watercolor paper and I used the backing of the frame to measure out the right size. The following clip you're gonna see is basically a time lapse of me tracing over the pictures that I decided to use for my reference images. You'll see like I changed them to get better pictures, but I found the pictures like on either from my personal photo gallery on my phone or on my mom's Instagram or Facebook. Also, I hope the lighting's not too bad. It's like 11 p.m. or something, but I'm a night owl, so a lot of the clips have mediocre lighting because, listen, I tried to film this morning, I was just not awake at all, and it kind of shows, and I seemed like so shy, and I was like, oh my god, it looks like I'm like a hostage somewhere, and I'm having to like make a video like, yes, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm alright, and you treat me very well. So I didn't want to give off those vibes. So at the end of the day, around 11 p.m, I'm awake, man. So awake, ready to draw something. So the next clip is my time lapse of me tracing over the pictures that I chose on Procreate. Procreate is easy. I really love that app. I use it every day, literally every day. I think it's a one-time purchase, like 15 bucks. It's really worth it. So you should get that. Yeah. Okay, so this is me importing the pictures I chose into Procreate. I erased the background and unnecessary elements in the pictures. You'll see later on I replaced the little white dog's picture because I felt like this one wasn't really capturing her essence. Then I imported some script that I used the font. It's a website with a lot of different calligraphies. I feel like it's easier for me to get like a consistent like style of writing instead of doing it myself. So I just retraced over, I tweaked some stuff, then I added some, I forget what they're called, they're not areolas, what are they called, the round things that angels have on top of their head? I don't know, I felt like that was, cute because they're no longer with us. And what else? Yeah, and then you see me start tracing on top of the pictures. I feel like that's how I get like a really accurate reading of the dogs, and their face and their personality. Because I feel like, especially with pets, you really want them to look, any kind of portrait, pet or human, you really want them to look like that specific dog, like your dog and a random white fluffy dog, So the tracing was probably the longest part here on the little black dog's bihu. And then the final sketch is pretty loose, but you get what it is. Like, I also didn't want to overwhelm my sketch because I knew I was going to add like a lot of different colors and some pen and some white ink and all that stuff. So too much on the initial sketch would maybe get like messy, and I didn't want, to be confused when I would do my sketch with the pink crayon that you're going to see soon. Okay, so I forgot to film this whole before part, but whatever, it's not too late to film it now. It's like 3 a.m. so, sometimes I just randomly start drawing. I'm watching YouTube, family therapy, just sipping on some juice. And so yeah, this is the part where I have the printed sketches of my mom's dogs on a piece of printer paper. Taped it onto a piece of watercolor paper that I cut out at the appropriate size. And now I'm just tracing over. I have this little light box. It's like for children, but it's fine. I wasn't filming it earlier because I was using my phone as a light because the light in here is very faint. I can barely see through this paper because it's a bit thick. So I've been using my phone in here with the flashlight on, and it was helping me a little bit more. I was debating doing the outlines with a pen, but I have this fear of commitment when it comes to artwork. I'm not used to doing pet portraits, so I was like, let's do the magenta. It'll look cute with the overall like watercolor and black ink. Anyways, so I think it'll make it look good. So this is Bihu, he's so cute. I used to call him Spit, and this is Pupun. I used to call her Poops. They're terms of endearment. So I'm almost done with Pupun. I'm gonna finish this, and then I think I'm gonna do the inking and then the watercolor. Usually I do a watercolor and then inking, but I don't want to lose my sketch. So I think I'm gonna do ink first. Let's see how it goes. So right now I'm doing the inking part. This is always the part where I'm like, am I making it worse or am I making it better? Like the marker I used is, what is it? Staedtler Permanent, Lumicolor, whatever. I tested them out on a little piece of paper and put some water over it to see if it would be resistant to the watercolor, and it was fine. So that's why I'm using this one, but the tip is kind of like a felt tip. So on the watercolor paper, it's not like super precise, but it's kind of doing the job though. So I'm starting with this one. I don't know if I can do it one-handed. Let me see. Let's try. Just trying to go like little sketchy lines. Yeah, so I'm gonna continue this and I'll show you later. Okay, so I keep forgetting to film, but I'm starting the watercolor part. So the watercolors I'm using are these because they're cheap, Pentel Arts. They're cheap, but they're good. I prefer the ones in the tubes rather than ones in like the little circle things, just because I can like portion them out and mix my colors. This is my palette that I reuse for my watercolors, because once it dries, you just put a little bit of water and it reactivates. This is my water mug. It was a coffee mug. It broke right here and I don't want to cut my lip on it, so now it's a painting mug. These paintbrushes, if you're an artist, you know that we mistreat our brushes all the time. So they're just soaking there. They've soaked for what, 10 times now? I don't know. So yeah, my palette, paintbrush, I don't know the brand, but it's like a little pointy tip. And yeah, so I just reactivated this color and I just went ahead and put some over here. And yeah, the marker, the pen that I put already seems to be holding up pretty well. It's not like getting diluted with the, or like smearing everywhere with the watercolor. I did leave it dry for like at least 24 hours, I think. So maybe that helps. Oh yeah, also I always tape down, this is like an old piece of glass from a frame, and I just taped the sides so I don't cut myself. And I taped my little watercolor paper with my sketch on it, my inked sketch. I have my pen reference. There is a bit of, I don't know, I don't want to make the line work too dark. I might add some pen at the end, I'm not sure. And I have my reference on my iPad. How cute. And right there. So, just so I can look at it from time to time. A mask that I made a long time ago. I don't want to spook you guys. Yeah, and should I do a time lapse? Maybe I'll do a little bit. I might film a little bit of the watercolor because, you know, maybe a little time lapse moment. Maybe not the whole thing, but I'll see. Because I'm listening to a podcast right now, The Basement Yard. So, yeah. See you later. So one of the fun things with watercolor is that you can kind of build up the shadows and the tonality of the colors and all that stuff. It's kind of like a low commitment to like putting the color into your illustration. It feels really nice. And sometimes, you know, it kind of wet, it's like a bit darker, and then you wait for it to dry like a few minutes, and then you're like, okay, I can add more, and you, I don't know, it gives like dimension to the different parts of the illustration, in my opinion. And it's very like, it feels like very low risk, so that's what I like about it a lot. Yeah, so I started, this is like, you know, when you're doing an exam, I don't know if your teachers ever said that, but they're like, start with the questions you know the answer to and leave the questions that are harder till the end, so at least you get something done. That's the way I approach like any artistic like thing, like drawing, painting, whatever. So because I was scared of doing their faces, I was like, let me do her like a little, like in the picture she's wearing a sweater with like a turtleneck, so I was like, let me start with the turtleneck. This one is pretty like, you know, easy to do. And then I'm like, as I gradually build my confidence, I'll do the more hardest parts, but you know, usually leave the hardest parts till the end. Yeah, so I guess I don't really have much to say right now. I realized later, because Pupun, the white dog that I'm doing right now, she died a few years ago, so I haven't seen her in a while. Like, I see pictures and stuff sometimes, but I realized painting this that her nose is a bit more pink than black. So yeah, I guess you never study your, I mean, she wasn't my pet, she was my mom's dog, but yeah, I've never like really realized that, I think. So yeah, the dark parts were also not stressful, but I was kind of like, I don't want to do them too black because I wanted to leave, like, I wanted the line work to show through. So I did spend some time also building up the black parts, like the eyes, the lips, nose, that kind of stuff, and also Spiru's fur. Sorry for the shaky camera. Sometimes I would knock it with my paintbrush. But yeah, I did Pupun's face. you know, I wanted to do like a light gray because she's white. So I was like, how do you give dimension without like, you can't add white to white paper. I mean, you know what I mean. So, but I think it turned out pretty good. Pretty happy with it. And yeah, the other thing is like the watercolors, as I said earlier, they're cheap, but they're good. Honestly, I'm realizing I think I've had these since university. So it's been at least like, what, like 8 years? 8 years, 8, 6, whatever, many years. And they work really well. I know you can buy really like high quality watercolors, but honestly, I feel like I have no complaints with these ones. And I think they couldn't be more than $10 back then. Now I don't know, but I doubt they're more than $15, and I've had them for a year, so you definitely like get your money's worth. Yeah, I'm doing the brown parts now. I'm realizing like browns and like beiges, I don't really use a lot in my artwork. So it's always kind of like when I get to that part, I'm always like, oh shit, how do I do this? But I think it turned out pretty okay. So yeah, I should, because even when I paint people, I feel like I use weird colors. Like I'll never paint someone's skin tone like a regular skin tone. It'll be kind of greenish or bluish or pinkish, more to like, I don't know, make them look a little more weird. Also, I like really like painting skulls and aliens, so maybe that's why too. And when I was at the color, I was like, damn, in my reference picture, the color was like this army green. And I was like, I feel like he had a red color. But then I was like, no, I think it was blue before. I don't remember. But in the most recent picture I've had of him, he had the greenish color. So that's the one I put. Also, I know that I hold my brush in a weird way. This angle, it doesn't look too bad. In other angles, maybe you've seen it. I've always been told I hold it in a weird way, but you know, that's just what works for me. That's also how I hold my tattoo machine. And people are always like, what the hell? But I'm like, listen, if you want a clean line, you have to let me hold it this way. So yeah, no need to tell me what the hell is going on with your fingers. It's just, it is what it is, you know. And we're at the background now, and since they're in the sky, the easy answer is blue. And also it complements the other colors, so that's why I went with sky blue. Okay, so is the light a bit too bright? I am a night owl, if you haven't noticed. That's why the lighting is pretty crappy. Okay, this is worse. I'm done. I think I'm done with the watercolor portion. I don't want to make it too dark. So, you know, because this paper is like mostly black, but I don't want to lose the features if I do it too black. So I think I'm gonna wait for it to dry a little. Then I will keep like adding little hairs, I think. Especially on Spihu, like he has a lot of detail, you know, in his fur. So maybe I'll add a little bit more, and I'll definitely add at the end like a little touch of white. I have a gel pen. Yeah, this white gel pen that really adds a little spark. I just did the background blue, and yeah, because they're in the sky looking over us. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if I mentioned why I taped this down. It's because, as you can see, can you see? Like the paper here is like curved up, because the water makes the paper like undulate. Is that a word in English? I think so. So if you put the tape down, once it dries, it'll be flat. Because if you don't tape it down, then it's gonna stay wrinkly and you have to put it under like a dictionary and wait for it to flatten out. So yeah, do they look similar? Can you tell who it is? I hope you do. So I think I'm gonna go shower and then come back, and it'll be dry and I can add the finishing touches. So I already added the little extra hairs with a black pen before I started filming this, and I'm just adding the little touches of white, especially in spots that are usually wet, like the eyeballs, the nose, the lip, And I put also some little whites on the yellow ring things that I haven't looked up the name for. Yeah, to make them look like shiny. And now we are officially done. Here are the final sexy shots. They're so cute. I'm actually really happy with them. I like that you can kind of see the pink poking out. I like the little details for little white highlights. And this is one of the most satisfying parts, the tape peeling. Hello. Oh, and another trick is like if you want a nice even white border, you put the tape a little further down on the paper, and see, it's like I measured it on purpose or something. So yeah, so happy with them, and I can't wait to see my mom's reaction. And as I said previously, I bought a frame because part of giving someone like a painting is like, if you don't give them a frame, you're giving them an extra job to go find a frame. So I bought it before so I could measure everything accordingly to the size of the frame. 5x7 is pretty standard. This is me assembling it. And you'll see that when I flip it over, there's kind of this little piece of paper in the frame at the bottom, and like I took it out after the shot. But yeah, there they are. They're so cute. So I can't wait to see where my mom decides to put them up. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, comment a skull. Can you put a skull emoji on YouTube? I don't know. Comment a skull, right? I love skulls. Yeah, I hope I wasn't too long-winded. I'm sure I repeated myself, a lot. But the type of video that I like watching is yapping videos that I can kind of either put on the background, or if it's a tutorial, I can just like skip over to the parts that I forgot and like go over it. So yeah, if you want a tattoo, hit me up. I'm gonna put my socials at the end. And I think should I offer pet portraits, because I really like doing it. So if you want a pet portrait, send me a DM on Instagram, and I guess I'll have to figure out pricing. I don't really know. I'll do some research to see what the average price is. But yeah. So thank you, and I'm going to be making more videos probably on YouTube. It's a bit long to edit. I know you're supposed to be consistent on YouTube, post every week, but it's a lot of work, man. And I'm kind of like, I have so many projects at the same time, so yeah. Cool. So I'll see you next time for maybe another rat tutorial, or I wanted to do a studio tour maybe. I'm in my studio right now. So this is a rat tutorial episode 1, pet portraits with watercolor. So thank you.